Girl, you make me go so loco, loco, make me go crazy. We would make a beautiful
Spread your wings and fly. Us as Dove Boys, we were meant to rise and soar high. Welcome to yet another episode of the Blue Block Podcast, brought to you by Dove Boys Community. I am your host, Bradley, the white polar bear, flow colder than frost, hailing from the southwest of KE, all the way up in ELD. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for, walking with us up until our 9th episode, bro. That means we are so close to having a full season of this podcast, and I'm really glad to have been here each and every single month on each and every episode, just delivering beautiful conversations, beautiful social commentary, and hopefully, self-reflecting with each and every one of you on here on topics that are just meant for us to look back at ourselves and really find and charter our way to live more fulfilling lives. And so thank you so much for being here. And speaking of conversations, today's conversation will be on building foundation, especially in your 20s, because it's really important to have a good solid foundation in order for us to necessarily reap the fruits that we are building right now, or we are sowing right now later on in our years and in our late years to come. Remember, we also have other long form content under the This Is Bradley channel, multiple of series, different form factors, but all of which are basically catered for your viewing to kind of help you in this journey through life. You can go and check out all of that content, but for now, let's jump into it.
Knock on wood, is you trying to date me? Is it yes? Is it?
Your 20s are the most definitive decade in your life. So don't fall for that statement of life starts at 30 to 35, because it's now. It's now in your 20s. Like, during this time is that sweet spot where the decisions you make and the habits you establish influence greatly your success and your overall well-being. If you take time and invest in your financial etiquette, your career development, and your own personal growth, you are assured of better life satisfaction and at least reduce regret in the later decades to come. The actions that we take now compound over time, and if we play our cards right, we will be aiming for resilience, fulfillment, and prosperity. Right now in this period, we are blessed with the abundance of freedom, energy, and potential. Ukiangalia the opportunities that are available right now, they are very peculiar, and the beauty is we have low commitments. A majority of us aren't worried about mortgages, if there's any family responsibilities. But if you start now, the ability to adapt itakuwa higher than the bombardment of responsibilities. Culturally, I'm not falling for the notion that 30 is the new 20. White realize the profound significance of such a decade. If you delay development in this decade, you delay critical life decisions like jobs, relationships, and personal growth. You'll get into the mindset of living in the present and miss out on your present actions affecting your long-term income. There are consequences that come with this postponement. If you don't establish good financial habits, it's literally gonna cost you in the long run. I wouldn't want to lose out on a lot and squander chances for career progression, networking, and skill development. Hope is a good breakfast, but a bad supper. This reminds us that if we decide to be passively optimistic and not take actual steps, then that's not a strategy for success. This thing is biological too, because the way your brain develops plays a role in the experiences and decision-making processes of us individuals in our 20s. Specifically the frontal lobe, which is the region responsible for decision-making, planning, and controlling our impulses. This part continues to mature up until mid to late 20s. This fortunately means that more of us in our 20s, we are more likely to make decisions that are based on our emotional status, or that short-term gratification without considering the long-term consequences and impact. Mara ngapi have you seen an individual in their 20s accepting a job bila full consideration of whether this is something that he really wants? It may be the pressure around him, maybe anafaa kuwa in a position that anaweza kuspoil them buddies on whatever they want, ama labda ni the pressure ya hustle culture yenye by the way is connected to a larger scheme of scarcity mindset, especially rooted in Africa. Another scenario would be someone jumping into a relationship in their 20s based off of a immediate feeling or ama vibe as we like to call it. Na hatujaangalia our long-term compatibility. Me saying this, if I really push myself to think about it, like life decisions are really overwhelming and confusing to a point, sindio? But this stage of development peer presents a unique advantage because now when the frontal lobe is maturing, there is low resistance to risk taking and being open to new experiences. That's why wase unaweza enda summer tides, unaweza enda upige road trips, staycations, wherever, whenever. Being inclined towards exploration makes this time in our 20s rich for personal growth and experimentation. You are not limited by anything, so you can constructively choose to pursue a purposeful career, actively try new things, and learn new lessons from inevitable mistakes. As I mentioned, the compounding effect, which is majorly known for financial investments, this also applies in your 20s. As much as the habits you establish financially now will shape your finances in the years to come, also seemingly the small consistent actions you make, they will make a big difference down the road. This is because the power of time will allow efforts to accumulate and multiply with time. As we speak about finances, have you ever heard about a budget? The fundamental plan on how you think you should best spend your money. This tool helps us live within our means and effectively prioritize our financial goals. The best place to get started is by tracking all of your spending so that you can get a good clear picture of where your money is going to currently. You could do this within a month, but then a common framework is the 50-30-20 rule, where 50% of your income goes towards your needs, 30% of your income goes towards your wants, and then 20% goes towards savings and debt repayments. You could reevaluate your budget and align them with your values. Si lazima ikuwe restrictive. Kama unadai kuachieve financial stability, then you can prioritize settling debts in your budget. If a value that you hold is being free-spirited and you can go see the world, be outside, then probably in your budget uta recalculate and then you configure it to a way that you are eventually prioritizing travel. You are not bound to what human beings find important in general. When your financial decisions start reflecting your values, it becomes more natural to stick to it. Let's also normalize planning for a rainy day. And with this, I'm hinting towards an emergency fund. As much as you want to live in the moment, like you want to YOLO out, you just want to be free, have fun, live this life to our fullest, be in the present moment. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We just feel like, our future is set. But you see, this future that we are talking about also comes with unforeseen circumstances like job loss, medical expenses, literal emergencies that we could never see coming. That's where your emergency fund comes in, and it is there to actually cushion you in these trying times. You could have it in a separate account that could be easily accessed for true emergencies. When sherehe si emergency, this peace of mind allows you to focus on your actual financial goals without the worry of any sort of setbacks. Also, let me know if you'd like deep dives into topics on finances. Who knows, we might invite an actual expert. Where's it, Joe? Anyway, lastly, kwa finances ni madeni. The debts you accumulate, either personal between like an arrangement when I'm say, or those like from financial institutions, you need to manage them strategically. Kiwezekana, minimize them. There's a surge of this high interest model, or like in layman's term, penye mimi natoka, especially in Kenya, like lipa mdogo mdogo or lipa pole pole. Bro, that stuff is a trap, by the way. I fell for it like once and I actually ended up paying 40 G's for a 20 G's type of phone, like 20 G's at best. I even questioned it. Like, I was like, this even costs less than 20 G's, let's be honest, in the market. But just because it's like a whole, on a payment scheme, they gotta, and they wanna kufionza when it comes to that cash. I'm also like trashing the same thing that's like recording me right now, so sorry. But I'm just saying that there was no value for money. I'm never falling for that ever again, and you shouldn't. Even if you are like on one or you're trying to get into one, try and see if you can, like within their policy, try and see if you can actually pay above the minimum so that you can actually get out of your deal quickly before they run you dry. At least you won't feel like you're getting like milked for your money. Understand? And the goal here is for us to like free up cash flow so that we can redirect it towards savings and investments. In those student loans, choose a plan that applies to your budget, like your overall budget. Try paying above the minimum so that you can reduce the interest paid across the lifespan of the loan. If you're transitioning from education, try and live with as little debt as possible. Let that be your objective. Another thing is lifestyle inflation. Just because you earn more doesn't mean you should now spend more. You need to maintain a certain level of discipline and prevent the accumulation of more debts. If you stay disciplined, then your increased earnings will contribute to foundational growth rather than kuongezeka kwa liabilities. Save for your retirement. I get it. You're in your 20s, but you will retire. So you can take the advantage of compounding interest early and reap the benefits later on. Moving on to your career development. In your 20s, this is the best time to explore options. Try different things just to find out what you enjoy professionally. In this exploration, try engaging in diverse professional experiences. Like for example, I'm pursuing a career in creative media, which is an umbrella housing sound design, video editing, photography, videography, animation, film, scripting. Like, it's a whole myriad of things. Further on in life, I can now decide what it is that I want to zero in and that I genuinely enjoy and love doing. If you also could find like shadowing opportunities, and what I mean by shadowing is like if you have a certain mentor in your life who is in the field of necessarily whatever it is that you are into, they do that as their professional practice. You could just like tag along and shadow them through whatever field that they're in and get a feel for what it means to be in their shoes, in their job, and know if this might be something that you are into. You could also try side hustles. With such varied experiences, you discover what it is that actually drives you, gain interest into something, and know your passions. As we spoke on the career expectations from African parents last episode, the idea of having a fully formed career path is thrown out the window because we are now approaching it with more curiosity and experimentation. This is very important and shouldn't be overlooked. If you want to live a more fulfilling life, then I suggest you explore. It's okay if you go about a career and don't feel like it no more. There's so much you learn in exploring new roles and environments, and in a way you are creating a speciality in techniques that only you can do the way that you do. You are refining the way that you do it, which will favor you in the job market. A term for this is identity capital. It seems like a big term, but it simply boils down to the personal and professional skills that you bring onto the table. Those technical and soft skills. Are you good at communication? Are you good at working with a team? Are you also good at emotional intelligence? Could you regulate your emotions when you're in the workplace and interacting with a lot of people? Because these are what it takes necessarily. An investment into new experiences that will enrich your personal and professional skills goes a long way. These are your personal assets that increase your marketability and earning potential. Keep on adding value. Studies say that weak ties, or those that we call acquaintances, actually lead to more job opportunities than those close friends. So even as you network in your field, remember that it does not have to be deeply emotional and that intimate. In your 20s, you could prioritize the quantity of such interactions because they act as social information hotspots that you could draw from. Then if you're also lucky to find mentorship, then you're in luck. Since we have talked about your finances, your career, we also now need to talk about you. In your 20s, you are forming your identity as an adult. You are finding your style of interacting with other people. You are discovering what gives you meaning in life. I'm still figuring out who I am and what I want in life. Even as undefined as all of this is, it's important to identify core values. That way, we can make choices that align with them, these core values that we set for ourselves. It'll be easier to make life decisions like choosing this or that, taking up a job, choosing a life partner when you have already set your core values. If you understand them and live in accordance with your core values, you'll find purpose and confidence, reducing any space for self-doubt. If you don't know where to start, just search for Brené Brown's list of values. At least that's where I started. One main ingredient for success that most people overlook is failure. Failure is that one main ingredient that will bring about resilience, creativity, and personal development. You might feel a little bit of discomfort when you're experiencing it, but that's just part of the process when you're outgrowing and learning anew. The personal growth that we've been referring to time and time again requires us to fail a couple of times and get out of that comfort zone, experience discomfort, and build character in the process. For the sake of this section not getting clipped into one of those black and white motivational shots, I'ma leave you with this. Inaction breeds fear and doubt. Action breeds confidence and courage. Just to wrap things up, once you understand what evokes warmth in you, anger in you, satisfaction in you, or even how you process grief or loss, you'll get to the roots of said problems, and by asking the right questions, you'll be able to find solutions to those said problems. It's all about being self-aware, which can be achieved through self-reflection. As you know, that's our bread and butter under This Is Bradley, under the Voice Community, under the Blue Blog Podcast. Like, that's what we do. Recognizing emotional patterns and responses. All this goes a long way in developing emotional intelligence, which is the capacity to understand and manage one's own emotions and those of others around them, yielding a lot more through your career and personal life. Anyway, thank you for having this conversation with me. I've been your host, Bradley, the White Polar Bear, local and Frost Lady from the southwest of KE, all the way up in ELD. I hope this conversation really has impacted you. I hope it has changed your perspective. If you're in your 20s, or maybe if you're not, you could just use whatever information, extract whichever information, and use it and apply it in your own stage of life so that you could start building foundation. It's never too late. Go ahead and follow this podcast. If you feel like you need to express anything, go ahead, write it in the comments. If you feel obliged to, you could also subscribe to the channel. This is Bradley. It's simple. You could just go ahead and search at 07BRAD on YouTube search bar, at 07Brad. Yeah, who knows? Maybe thank you for being with me. The 9th episode, probably we might not be here next episode. Who knows? Stick around and find out. Yeah, I'm probably geeking by now, but anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Titi.
Girl, you make me go so loco, make me go crazy. We would make a beautiful baby.